The blizzard was fierce that night, winds cutting like knives across the frozen field. But what the rescue team found at dawn left them speechless: a burning pickup truck, two men bound and gagged in the back, and standing just feet away, a little girl on crutches beside a German shepherd, both covered in ash and snow. The girl's face was streaked with tears, her voice trembling as she whispered, "We got them out. We saved them. Hours earlier." No one would have believed a child, who could barely walk, and a dog with no training, could pull off a rescue that firefighters called impossible. But what really happened that night would redefine the meaning of bravery forever. Snow drifted across the empty highway like ghostly ribbons of white. The wind howled against the windshield as Jack Turner, a grizzled veteran with tired eyes, tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Beside him sat Officer Ryan Hale, a young cop with a steady jaw and quiet respect for the man who had once worn the same uniform. Their truck rattled down the frozen road, headlights barely cutting through the storm. "Feels like the end of the world out here," Ryan muttered. Jack gave a small grin. "You get used to it. War zones were quieter than this." They were delivering emergency supplies to an isolated outpost when Ryan spotted something ahead: a pickup truck parked sideways across the road, its lights flickering. "You see that?" he asked. Jack slowed down, squinting through the snow. The driver's door was open, the vehicle abandoned. Before they could react, movement flashed in the shadows. Two masked men appeared, guns drawn. Out of the vehicle, one shouted. Jack's instincts kicked in, but it was too late. They were surrounded, forced to the ground, wrists bound tight with coarse rope. Moments later, the attackers threw them into the back of the truck and slammed it shut. Jack struggled, but the sound of liquid sloshing sent a chill through his veins. Gasoline. Through the tiny window, he saw a match strike, and the world erupted in flames. Snowflakes danced across the frozen field outside Sophie Miller's small farmhouse. The power had gone out hours ago, but the dim lantern light flickered across her determined little face. At just 9 years old, Sophie had learned to live with more courage than most adults. Her prosthetic leg made every step a battle, but her spirit never faltered, not with Rex, her loyal German shepherd. Always at her side, as she adjusted her crutches. A faint orange glow in the distance caught her eye through the storm. "Rex," she whispered, "that's not lightning." Smoke curled into the dark sky, glowing brighter with every second. The dog's ears perked, followed by a low, urgent growl. Something was wrong. Her mother was asleep upstairs, and the nearest neighbor was miles away. Sophie bit her lip. She knew she shouldn't go, but she also knew someone might need help. "Come on, boy," she said, grabbing her coat. Rex barked once, as if agreeing. Together, they stepped into the storm. The snow crunched beneath Sophie's crutches as the cold wind stung her cheeks. She leaned forward, determined. With each painful step, the glow grew stronger. Rex barked again, sharper this time. The kind of bark that said they were running out of time. The blizzard roared like a living beast as Sophie pushed forward, snow biting at her cheeks. The glow ahead flickered brighter, then she saw it. A truck, engulfed in flames, black smoke twisting into the night sky. Sophie's breath caught in her throat. "Rex, someone's in there." The dog barked, lunging ahead through the drifts. Through the smoke, she spotted movement. Two men struggling in the back of the truck, their hands bound, fire creeping closer. Sophie's heart pounded. Her first instinct was to run for help, but there was no time. The flames were spreading fast. Using her crutches, she hobbled closer, the heat searing her face. "Hold on," she cried. Rex barked fiercely, circling the truck, searching for a way in. Sophie tugged at the handle, but it was jammed. She coughed as smoke filled her lungs, then spotted a metal toolbox half buried in snow nearby. With trembling hands, she pried it open and pulled out a rusted crowbar. She slammed it against the latch again and again until the door finally groaned open. The fire roared louder, but Sophie didn't stop. "Rex, pull!" she shouted. The German shepherd grabbed one man's jacket with his teeth, dragging him halfway out as Sophie cut at the ropes. The flames hissed, inches away. They were almost out of time. The metal latch finally gave way with a screech. Smoke poured out, thick and suffocating. Sophie coughed hard, but didn't stop. "Come on," she yelled, grabbing the veteran's arm. His clothes were scorched, his wrists raw from the ropes. Beside her, Rex barked frantically, tugging at the officer's sleeve with his teeth. The fire crackled, climbing higher up the truck bed. They had only seconds left. Go, boy. Pull, Sophie cried. The German shepherd yanked with all his strength, dragging the officer halfway out. Sophie swung the crowbar down, snapping the last knot loose. The two men tumbled into the snow, gasping for air. Then came a sound that froze Sophie's blood, the sharp hiss of gasoline catching flame. Get down, she screamed. Rex lunged forward, knocking her over just as a massive explosion ripped through the truck. The blast sent fire and debris shooting into the sky. The world became white and orange, a storm of light and smoke. Sophie hit the ground hard, snow cushioning her fall. Her ears rang, her crutches scattered. For a long moment, everything was silent. Then she heard it bark. Weak, but alive. She looked up through the haze. Rex stood, limping, beside the two men, all three alive, framed by the burning wreck behind them. Snowflakes drifted gently now, the storm finally beginning to fade. The burning truck hissed as the fire met melting snow, leaving behind only smoke and silence. Sophie lay in the snow, coughing weakly. Her hands were blistered, her face smudged with ash. Rex, she whispered. The dog limped over, pressing his muzzle against her cheek, whining softly in the distance. Faint sirens began to echo, red and blue lights flashing through the haze. The rescue teams had finally found them. Paramedics rushed toward the scene, shouting orders as they spotted the girl. We've got a child here. One called out. Jack and Officer Ryan, still dazed, struggled to their feet. She saved us, Ryan croaked. That little girl and her dog, they pulled us out. The medics lifted Sophie onto a stretcher. Rex tried to climb up beside her, barking and refusing to be separated. It's okay, boy, she murmured, barely conscious. We did it. One medic crouched down, eyes wide with disbelief. She dragged them out? In this weather? Jack nodded weakly. Yeah, she's the bravest kid I've ever met. As the ambulance doors closed, Rex lay his head beside Sophie's hand. The sirens wailed, but inside, the girl and her dog slept peacefully. Heroes who had defied the impossible. Days later, the hospital auditorium buzzed with reporters and townspeople, all eager to honor a hero. Sophie Miller, still recovering from frostbite and exhaustion, sat beside Rex, her loyal German shepherd. The mayor stepped up to the podium, holding two gleaming medals. For courage beyond her years, and for saving the lives of a veteran and an officer, he announced. His voice echoing through the room, applause erupted, and Sophie's eyes widened as the medals were pinned to her chest. Beside her, Rex barked once, proudly, tail wagging. Jack Turner, the veteran, and Officer Ryan Hale approached, both still bandaged but smiling. You saved our lives, Jack said, voice thick with emotion. I don't know how to thank you enough. Rex nudged Sophie's hand with his nose, and she hugged him tightly. We did it together, boy, she whispered. Cameras flashed as reporters crowded around, capturing every moment. A local journalist asked Sophie what she felt when she saw the burning truck. She smiled faintly, looking down at Rex. I just knew we had to try, she said. The audience rose, clapping, some wiping tears. Outside, snowflakes fell softly, catching the light like sparks. Sophie walked with Rex by her side, stronger, braver, and forever a hero. Proof that courage comes in all sizes, and sometimes on four legs.